Alright guys, it is time for the second installment of a detailed Elliot wave analysis covering three assets today. Ethereum is going to be the first, EOS, and Cronos, a pot stock. I'm going to go through all of these in full detail in this video. There will also be a chopped up version of a shorter analysis of each one. So the last time I put it out, I put the short analysis out on each, covering all three at once. This week I'm going to give it a shot splitting those three videos up so you can catch whichever one you prefer to watch in a short detailed analysis. However, in this particular video, I'm going to show you how I came to my decisions, my conclusions on each one. It's going to be a little bit more of a detail of how to arrive at the count versus what the count is, and recognizing some structures and things like that. Before I get started, I'm going to notate one thing real quick. So the Ethereum Hives right here, and if you look on the EOS chart to the right, you'll notice that the high was one pivot to the right of that. It's actually right here. So that does give us some decisions to make on that chart, and we'll take a closer look at those in just a minute. Also note that I am on the log charts, so we'll switch back and forth during the analysis. These look a little distorted versus the linear charts, though. Much different. Alright, and there's not quite enough detail for me on the 3 days, so let's go down to the 1 day. Obviously, we all know that we had some kind of move end up here, and after that we have since been in a corrective move. So we're not so much going to count all of this. We are going to be looking at this corrective move and what it could be. To me, it's pretty clear that we have some kind of expanded flat right here. Just like this, making an ABC here. Quick shout out to Oye Beto on the Twitters. He gave me the idea to just use these defaults instead of manually changing between everything. I think we'll go up a couple more here. Let's go to 7 there. As this is my primary counts, my largest counts I'm really going to get to in this video. So instead of changing my colors every time, you can actually set a default. Just say apply defaults, and you can choose the color and the degree that you want for that degree. So I'll use that throughout the video. So for me, this is a gigantic continuation structure. Obviously, continuation already happened, right? And then we have, well, let's just mark it as a downtrend first. So we've got this high, we've got a lower high, we've got a high and then a low. A lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So this is clearly a downtrend. And we've since broken out of this downtrend. So we actually had 1 degree trend here. We have lower lows and lower highs in this. We broke out of that. We broke out of this. And finally we broke out of this. So we've got some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave count. Now, in my opinion, it's actually going to be a WXYXZ. Just like so. I'm still getting used to this, so you gotta cut me some slack on that. I'm sure by the next video I'll be used to it and I won't be using the manual method of changing my degree and color. But something like this is what I'm looking at on this move down. Actually, I need to take it down 1 more degree, so let me go ahead and do that real quick. Should be 5, will be perfect. And here we've got some kind of ABC, right? And of note is that this is our first lower low right here. After we made the high, we had a low, a lower high, and a lower low. That's our first lower low in a long time. So that's your market structure break right there. But that would be an A, B, and C. Of the same degree of this WXYXC. So we've already defined a lot of this move. There's a couple things to note here. So A, we know that this is a completed structure here. We also know that we've started a new structure here. There's also a possibility, since we have some kind of move down, some kind of correction to it, and then a move down, this could be a completed three-wave structure. Some people are counting this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do see that possibility. That would then make this a large A, B, C. However, I don't think you can really argue that this is 5 waves down. I think this is pretty clear that it's 3 waves down. So for me, this is a WXY. I'm going to use the Z for just a second as well. We've got a W, X, Y completed. And let's hold off on the X and Z, XX and Z. And that is going to be our highest degree structure that we're going to be counting. So what does this move become? For me, there's really two options here. This could be another X wave of some sort, not necessarily complete. And then we could have one more low in Z. The other option is that this is some kind of basing pattern. We discussed this slightly in the previous video on Bitcoin and the others, where an AB base is quite a controversial pattern in Elliott wave. Many say it doesn't exist. Many say it's actually some kind of 1-2. In my opinion, whether it's an AB base or just some other sort of basing pattern, I believe that it exists. I believe that it's very important in development of waves. So this could be some kind of a massive, ugly B wave going in before we start a new impulse upwards. Essentially, we're going to count this the same either way. We're not really going to take that too much into consideration at this time. And we will put the X and Z aside. And we'll get down into counting this lower section here. So let's go to a 4-hour chart. As normal, this will typically be the lowest that I really count on in these videos. You can always join our group as we count on 15-minute charts. It doesn't matter. We're always looking at moves in the Discord, whether it be here on Ethereum or over in Forex. We're counting waves, studying structures consistently. All right, so here we've got to move up, right? In the theory that this is some kind of impulse, people would be counting this as a 1 and some kind of 2. Maybe they're saying that 2 ended here. Maybe they're saying that 2 is not complete yet. For me, I don't believe that to be the case in any way, shape, or form. For me, this first move is clearly some kind of A wave. Or W, it doesn't matter. You can actually make a pretty solid case that it's a W and not an A. That should be the same degree, right? Yeah, it should be. in this move, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, if you want to really push it. So let me just show you why I counted those. It's somewhere between 11 and 13 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then the questionable 12 and 13. If you have some kind of impulsive count, could it be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, with an extended third wave and an extended fifth wave? I actually think that's possible, which has me counting it as an A wave. There's also the potential that it is just some kind of W, X, Y, with this being an ABC, W, X, ABC, Y in the W, a quick X, and then an ABC in the Y wave. But for me, I see it like this. This top is a little questionable, but you do see that we formed a high, a low, and then a higher high. So after completion of that move, we then broke the market structure. We made a lower low here. In fact, we broke this low here. So depending on how you count it, got higher lows all through here. Could even call this a higher low, but I wouldn't consider the market structure broken until here. I wouldn't consider this a break just because this could still be part of a subwave. But here, we got clear market structure breaks. This is the start of our corrective move. Time analysis becomes critical at this point for me. Sorry, wrong selection of tools. So we're going to measure the time of the A wave. And typically I expect the B wave to be at least 3 times as long. That's not necessarily a rule. Minimum would be 1 time as long, the same length of time as the impulse up. We believe in our Discord, we teach that you have impulses and you have corrections. Impulses move quickly, corrections do not. Corrections move very slowly and generally cover less ground. There are times where corrections can make new highs. They can make new price extremes, but they will generally cover less ground in terms of price and more ground in terms of time. In my opinion, if you just implement those 2 theories right there, impulse, correction, into your trading, whether you're a price action trader or Elliott wave trader or whatever type of trade you may be taking, if you can implement those 2 types of moves into your trading, I believe that it will improve what you're doing. You can recognize the impulse, you can recognize the correction, you can learn to expect when a correction may be ending so that you can catch a larger impulse. So, for me, this first move down was 3 waves, correct? I think that's clear. A, B, C. We'll go ahead and label it. Obviously, it's a lower degree than this. So let's take that down to a, I'm going to go down to a 2, actually. Should probably do 3. That took less than half the time of the impulse it was correcting. Is our correction complete here? Based on my time analysis, we absolutely could not be complete here. So, with that in mind, this wave's completed, we have a new wave up. We can call this A. Actually, I'm going to call it W for the sake of argument. And then we've got an X and a Y on hold. We then had an ABC up behind that. We had a pretty clear 3-wave move. And then we had this 5-wave move down. At this point, I'm thinking, great, we've got an ABC flat right here, and we're looking for continuation up. Time-wise, it took enough time to be the corrective wave. It took just over twice as long. So that could be a completed corrective wave. We've got a 3-wave move. So we start looking to buy the breakout from that move. Obviously, we got rejected. We took some profits here. And then we have what looks to be some kind of flat right here, continuation pattern. And that's what happens. We continue down. So now I see this. This is all one move for me. I think that's relatively clear. I also think it's relatively clear that we have some kind of 5-wave move here. I'm big on the right look, especially if you go to like a daily time frame. This has the right look for me. 2 does not retrace as deep as I typically want it to. However, it's very clear that we have some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 form right in here. So let's go ahead and label that 5-wave impulse. I haven't set these yet. Just like this. Again, remember time. This moves quite quickly. However, it doesn't move nearly as quickly as this, and it doesn't cover as much price ground as this does. So in my opinion, these two are not correlated to each other. I'm still looking for a move like this one here. Oops, I made too many of them. I still think we have an impulse up similar to this one to come somewhere after completion of all of this. I thought this was it, and we made money longing this, looking for a move like this, but it just did not play out the same. And therefore, I believe that this remains part of a corrective pattern. So what could that corrective pattern be if we have a 5-wave move up here? So this was not a Y, right? Because it ended up becoming like this, A, B, C. In my opinion, we've now formed a flat right here in the middle. 3, 3, 5. Gives us an ABC formation. A, B, C. So now we have A, B, C, A, B, C, and whatever this thing is here. What is this hideous mess going in over here? Let's go back down to a 4-hour and take a look at this. There's two things this could be. First of all, we've got 3, 3. We could be looking for a 5 for a larger flat. Oh, sorry, I put that B in the wrong place. Something like this. So when we short this top, we're looking for an impulse down. Bam, we get it. We get a great impulsive move down, and then we go sideways. So there becomes two options here. My primary option was, hey, let's fall out of the bottom. Let's make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we fell out of the bottom and we bounced. And we have since gone sideways for a long time. Let's just count this move up here. Our sideways has already taken almost twice as long as it. So if it's going to be related in an impulsive way to our A wave, then it should take about the same amount of time. Well, the same amount of time was here. And now we're already at 4x as long. For just this. That's not even talking about this part. So I'm actually counting this A versus this proposed C. A, B, C. We've already taken 5 times as long. And probably more than 6. So we're looking at taking at least 7 times as long, absolute minimum. It doesn't really add up as an impulsive move. We're not impulsing down. I think we can clarify that without question. So could this be a W wave here, with this large flat being an X, and then we're looking for a Y, A, B, C. This becomes my primary count, just like this, which would then make this large section here our B wave, A, B, and then a C up. For the C up, we're looking for something like this. Commonly in a WXY, you have 2 waves that are related in terms of time. And as I already pointed out to you, the W is much quicker than what my proposed Y has been. So perhaps we're taking closer to the time of our X wave. When time is long, it would take us a long way out. We'd be looking at April 22nd, so more than a month from now. I think it's pretty doubtful that we take quite that long, but even if we get to the 0.5 or the 0.75 of this move, that would be pretty relevant. So we could bottom somewhere in this time period. So this is essentially what I'm looking for on Ethereum. After we complete this, we have an impulse up. That's related to this one. The question becomes, is this then a completed move? A, B, C, and we continue down. That can make our X wave. This would make up our X wave. Even nastier would be that would just be a W. And then we put in an X. And then a Y. Well, you know, sometimes it does that to me. I have no idea why. I need to go to 6, don't I? This ABC would be related to this. Oops. And actually, I should take that up another degree, but that's okay. For the sake of time, I'll leave it just like this. This could be the start of an even nastier sideways move that takes up the rest of this year and potentially longer. Now there will be some impulsive moves that we can catch in here, both longs and shorts. So even if this does play out, there's a lot of money to be made. It's quite a large range. Even if you look at current range, we're talking about 100%. Projected range could be almost 300%. I also mentioned the fact that this could be a basing pattern. This could be the bottom of our base. This could be our A. This could be our B. The rest of this could be irrelevant. We could have a massive impulse behind this. I would love that. Just don't know that it's true. Let me go ahead and make this a line here. And we'll take the background off of it. Oops. This is my, I hope not, but it's possible, chart. Alright guys, that's really all I've got on Ethereum. If you have any questions on that chart, let me know. I'd be happy to try to answer them for you. But we're going to go ahead and move on over to EOS. Note that I'm also not suggesting that the top is in here. It's still unclear. Looking for a break of this uptrend. Well, I say uptrend. This corrective move. It is technically an uptrend. We've got a high, we've got a low, we've got a high, we've got a higher low and a higher high. That gives us an uptrend. Loss of the uptrend suggests that we're continuing down. I would love to see this low here taken out, and then we can continue up. But that doesn't necessarily have to happen. It could be an internal retracement to this. You can also take that off a log and look at it like this. Alright, so let's move on to EOS. And again, I'm starting on the log chart based on the large price move. So EOS top was later in 2018 than most of the charts in the crypto space. In my opinion, the end of the move was still the same place. Excuse me, I don't know what I just said actually. In my opinion, the first move on the chart ended there. It did not end here. You could try to count this as some kind of A, B, C, large expanded flat type move. But I believe that the end of the move was here. Also note that we are looking at the log chart. If we take this off of log real quick, you can see that these moves look a little more comparable. In terms of percentage, this was a much larger move. In terms of price, they were very similar. In fact, I kind of like this whole chart better if we take log off. But then you have the opposite scenario over here, where in terms of percentage, we got an 80% move and a 75% move, essentially. These aren't exacts. But in terms of price, they're very different. So this move is easier to look at on log than it is on linear. Same thing here. We've got a downtrend broken, a trend following along here. So this is a new wave. We've got a wave here, and we've got a wave here. We then had another wave down. Since then, we've got a downtrend here, right, on a higher degree, and we have broken out of that downtrend. So in my opinion, whatever this move is now complete, and we are correcting against this move. Correcting against it, or we've started a new impulse. So to me, this is some kind of A, B, C. You could try to call it a WXY, but this move is quite impulsive. So in my opinion, this is an ABC. This will be the highest degree that we count here. But let's just make it a minute. I think that's pretty simple overall. We've got some kind of ABC here, an ADC behind it. That's correcting this move. Let's talk about that real quick. If this is just a correction of this move, what should it do in terms of time? Take those guys off. We've already taken as long. Not quite to 2x as long. But if this is all some kind of A, B, then B could take as much as 3x as long or longer. So our corrective pattern may not be complete here. Something like this could play out, and it could take even longer than this. So you just want to keep that in mind. But if this is corrective to this, then this should be of a higher degree. All right, let's go ahead and take our time off. And I'm going to take log off. So when you go to the linear chart, it is quite clear that this move here has broken out of this and we've started a new move. Retracement-wise, we've barely attained anything. We're not even at 25% yet. Maybe to 12.5%. Yep, we got there. However, this is definitely the most significant correction we've had for a long time. We had to move up here, but time-wise, this isn't even, it's clearly a subwave. This has both the move in price and time to tell us that we are correcting this or starting an impulse of a new degree. So far, what I see here doesn't appear to be an impulse. We had a move up, and then a move to 1.25%, 125%, I should say, of this move. Let's put the 1.5 on there. I think we fell just short of it. Yeah, we fell just short of it. Just like that. So could this be a 1, 2, 3? Yeah, it's technically possible. However, this move behind that came really deep for a 4 wave. They do overlap slightly here, ever so slightly. In my opinion, this would not invalidate anything. This would not invalidate it as a wave 4. But the retracement was quick and sharp and deep. We got past the 50% in this first move. That's not very typical for a wave 4. So I lean towards calling this more of an ABC, with this being our A wave, this being our B wave, and this being our C. I promise I'll get used to it. What degree do we need this to be? Probably a 5 would be fine. Perfect. So there's a couple options. ABC means we could be complete with a correction, right? We have an ABC up after this, means we could continue down here. In my opinion, it's highly unlikely that we continue down here. I think I need to take this down 1 more degree. I think we move down, but I don't think that we continue down compared to this. This was too significant of a move to just go ahead and reverse back down to the downside. So I see a couple options here, and my primary is going to be that this is some kind of W wave for an X and Y. X's. There's very few defined rules about X waves that I really accept right now. I think X's will take a lot more studying before we get solid rules on them. Some say that X's are comparable to B waves, that they should take longer and be corrective to the W wave. And in that scenario, I'm using the wrong fib, sorry guys. In that scenario, our X could take up to over here somewhere, something like this. So this would then be, this would then be our impulsive move, followed by our corrective move, followed by our impulsive move. All contained underneath this resistance and ending up being rejected by this resistance level, which you can see has been significant for quite some time. So after completion of this move, we could then move down again, make new lows, which we would want to look at on the log chart as far as percentage, not base it on price on the linear chart, because obviously we wouldn't be going to -7 cents. We'd go to 0. It could happen. But EOS seems to be a pretty solid project overall. This could also be all some sort of base. We could come back down. This could be our A, followed by a B for a base before an impulse begins. But I'm suggesting at least through July. Well, potentially. Let's get down on the lower time frames here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this guy off. This guy as well. I again see a 1, 2, 3 move, 3-wave move. This is clearly impulsive. This was one of the cleanest impulsive counts that you could ask for. This again looked like flat here, and essentially I still believe that it was. Just some kind of base right here. Looks a little cleaner on Litecoin. but I do have this as some kind of flat pattern before moving up. So after this three-wave move down, we were then expecting a three-wave move behind it, because this is not enough time to correct, definitely not this, and even this move here. Say that we're just an internal move to this is our wave 3. This moved way too quick to be a correction to that move. So we knew that this would not be a new impulse up, which is proving not to be so far. We could reach similar highs and make some kind of A, B, C. But after that, the question becomes, is this all a W, followed by X, followed by Y? Or are we complete with an ABC being our X wave? Let's take a quick measurement here. I'm going to go ahead and label this guy. So we've got 3 waves, marks this as an A. I still expect a little more upside here as a B, and then some downside. Could this be the count? In terms of time, our A wave took this long, so the B wave could take 3 times as long, approximately. And then the C wave could finish right around here. Early April? Could that be our entire X wave? I think it actually seems pretty likely that it's not. And that we end up making something more like this. So this is something I also proposed on Litecoin, that we have an insane amount of sideways coming up. Oh yay, if you're watching, tell me why that happens sometimes. I have no idea how to keep that from happening, and I would like to know that answer. So now let's measure our projected time of our W wave. X, again, rules are a little confusing. Wait, 1 second. This was the entire time of our W wave. So the X could take somewhere in here around the same amount of time. Sorry, guys. W, X, and Y taking twice as long, taking us to June. EOS has some news coming out, I say news, some fundamentals being released around that time. So could this potentially be our corrected move before a massive move up? I definitely think so. However, I tend to buy the rumor and sell the news in crypto. So we may cut short here and pump after that. But essentially, once we complete this pattern, we're looking to make a lot of money on EOS. Whether that pattern completes here or here. I would suggest that it's most likely going to complete in this longer term time frame. Alright guys, that's really all I've got on EOS. So let's go ahead and move to Cronos. CRON is the ticker. Notice that I am charting it on the Canadian exchange. There's a lot more chartable history here than if you were to look at the US exchanges. Again, when you're looking at log, it distorts things significantly. One thing I notice here is that similar flat pattern where you've got an ABC and then some kind of base behind it. We saw the same thing on EOS on a lower time frame. But to me, this appears to be some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're putting in some kind of 5 here. Oh. Let's go down to intermediate, call it good like this. Now you might say, well, your 3 is too short. Well, in terms of price, it is not anywhere near too short. Our price change in the wave 1 is $3.34, and our price change in the wave 3 is 13 bucks. Why does it look so much different? Because I'm on log. Now, most of the pot stocks are very young assets. This one is more aged than the vast majority of pot stocks. What happened back here? Not exactly clear, but clearly we had a reversal here and started a trend of some sort. Along here, we've got lows leading to higher lows. We have no breaks of market structure along this whole move. So we can mark this as an uptrend right along here. At this time, I see no significant correction of this move, and we could continue to move up to 80 bucks. It could go parabolic like crypto did, but at some point we're going to break this uptrend, and we're going to be in a bear market for a significant amount of time. $2022 is a 1-to-1. With the fundamentals in pot stocks, with so many companies coming out, but nations and states legalizing weed, we could definitely reach to higher highs. I would not suggest shorting this at any time until you see a break in market structure, which would be a lower low and or a break of the uptrend. This thing could continue like this. As soon as we break the structure, expect the bear market to last for a long time. It could be in wave 5 of 5 of this massive move. So doing some analysis on low time frames is pretty tough in this kind of market. I can tell you, oh, we're close to breaking down and close to a completed wave count. I shouldn't say close to breaking down. I should say close to a completed wave count. However, that completed wave count could extend so much that if you don't get in, you could miss out on a continued parabolic run. But you need to be aware that at some point in time, when we break that uptrend, we will be correcting for a long time. And you want to, you don't want to be buying in at the top and holding thinking, hodl. This is a crypto market type bubble. We could be at the very start of the bubble though. This bubble may not be nearly inflated yet. It seems likely, to be honest, that pot stocks will be the next bubble. The next parabolic rise followed by a bubble pop. Uranium could be in the same thought process. It could be in the same stage where it's starting some kind of parabolic rise. I would suggest that uranium would actually be down here. I don't think uranium's here. I think uranium would be down here for this massive move. And I would suggest, personally, I would say, hey, focus on uranium stocks rather than pot stocks. However, pot stocks may see some increases now. On low time frames, let's go back to logs to look at this real quick. Yeah, doesn't matter. Log, linear, we're holding either way. Let me do this. And then I'm just going to extend it to the right. That way when I flip to log, or off of log, we still have the same uptrend. So this is the local uptrend. And we seem to be in some sort of A, B, C here. When this pattern completes, I believe we continue up. This is a buy for me. In fact, they're not having a good day today. But as soon as we make a low, we can draw this downtrend. And you want to buy the breakout of that downtrend. Now, we can't confirm that this is the line unless this continues down and makes another low. We need this lower high to lead to a lower low. Then we have our trend line, and you look for a break of that trend line. Any flag is a must buy. And a hodl until you see lower low. Overall, I believe most of the pot stocks are in a continuation pattern though. I don't think that this corrective move is quite complete. So I haven't paid quite as much attention to these because of my bias. So, break of pink is bearish. Break of pink is probably a bear market. I personally don't believe that we're going to break pink anytime soon. I think fundamentally there's too much going on in the pot world. Even if you don't smoke it, you can benefit from trading. This could just be some kind of 1-2, 1-2, and then a massive 3 to come. So this is what I'm looking at, guys. I plotted my 5 somewhere around 77 bucks, 76, 70 bucks approximately. But there is no historical history to say, well, this is going to be the top. This could literally take off regardless of how close to complete we are in an Elliott wave count. But in my opinion, we are in the final wave of the massive move up. And you should be watching for a break of the uptrend. because that would be exceptionally bearish for quite some time. As long as we maintain the uptrend, I think you're safe to continue buying the dips. As soon as we make a lower low, understand that we may be in a long bear market. This was 2016. So we're talking about 3 years. We'd expect 3 years of correction. All right, guys, I think that's really all I've got on Cronos. If you have any questions, just let me know. We'll see you in the next video. And as always, I would appreciate a like, a share, a follow on YouTube, and come join the group if you want to learn more about charting Elliott Wave. Both myself and Satoshi Heavy use Elliott Wave. We do a lot of time analysis. Nebraskan Gooner and Crypto Warrior, they don't use Elliott Wave at all. So 50% of our guys are not Elliott Wave charters. If you don't like my videos, you can come learn from them. But we're an educational group that posts our charts and thoughts as well, so that you can try to trade from our own thoughts. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.